Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. First things, apologies I've not filmed for quite a while. I think my last video was in like February and it's now the middle of May. Basically I moved house, so that took up a big chunk of time, and then lockdown has recently been eased, so we've got a bit more freedom now. So when I've not been at work, I've sort of been filling my time, seeing my family and my friends, catching up, all that jazz. Also, I feel like I've not been reading very much, although this is going to be a whole video so I can ease my way into talking about books without having to articulate any intelligent thoughts about what I've read. I can just simply show you some books today. Yeah, I've only read like 8 books I think since my last video, so that's probably like an average size wrap up. So I will probably try and film that maybe in the next hour or so, like after I finish this video, hopefully, if it's not going dark or anything. Oh, and also apologies if my glasses are reflecting the light. They're like those blue light glasses, but they are prescription, so I do need them to see. But they're like bouncing off this window in front of me, so I'm really sorry if that's annoying, but hopefully it's not too bad. I'll try and keep my head down a little bit. So yeah, as I sort of alluded to earlier, this is going to be a whole video. Most of these books were bought from the charity shop, and I think a couple of them were from like Sainsbury's or Tesco or places like that where they do like a 2-for-1 deal. So yeah, without further ado, let me show you some books. So the first book that I picked up was Silka's Journey by Heather Morris. I think I got this one from maybe like Sainsbury's or Tesco. It's not necessarily a sequel, but it is a counterpart to The Tattooist of Auschwitz, which I did read a couple of years ago, and I really liked that story. Oh, it literally says on the front that it's a sequel. Okay, so if you're gonna read this, I would read The Tattooist of Auschwitz first. Basically, all I remember about her from the last book was she was a really young girl and she was very beautiful, and she sort of gets picked by the Nazi soldiers to live in their quarters. Pretty sure she gets used for like sexual abuse. Oh, so then this is after she's been liberated from the camp, and she's charged as a collaborator by the Russians and sent to a prison camp. Then she meets a man called Alexander, and she finds that despite everything there is room in her heart for love. So this is probably going to be a really sad romance, and it's going to be like historical fiction, romance, pretty much like The Tattooist of Auschwitz, which I did like. Jules! Okay. Hey Jelly. I'll just go shut the door, shall I? So alongside this one, I think I picked up this at the same time, and I think it was like 2-for-1. And if you've watched my videos before, you will know that I am obsessed with Karen Slaughter. I think I've explained this in a previous video, but how I shop for my books, I will already have a list of on my TBR, which is like 130 books long, and I only buy from books that are on that list. However, this was an exception because of the name up here, and I think I have heard of this one before because it's a standalone, and she does have quite a few standalones, but a lot of her books are part of a series, so I thought it would be good to pick this one up. So it's about 2 female police officers, Maggie and Kate, who become partners and are sidelined in the search for the city's cop killer. Basically just a crime thriller following detectives, which I really enjoy, so yes, I got that one too. And then following on from the Karen Slaughter hype, I'm kind of annoyed at myself for this one, but I'm also not. Okay, so I was in Tesco and I saw this, which is branded very much like a new Karen Slaughter book. I read the back, seems like just your average crime thriller. Looked in the front, seems like your average. I was like, I need to know if it's a standalone. There's literally nothing in here that says that it's not. It reads like, you know, it reads like a standalone. It's very vague. Yeah, so I bought it. It was only like £4, so it's fine. Anyway, I went on Goodreads to add it to like my TBR. I've literally just talked about how I only buy things from my TBR, and like 2 of these already. I mean, Karen Slaughter is the exception, okay? I don't need to know that I will like that book. Anyway, yeah, got home, tried to add it to my TBR on my Goodreads, and it said it was the 10th book in the Will Trent series, which I did start after I finished the Grant County series, which I'm obsessed with. I started the Will Trent series because that sort of like follows on from the aftermath of the Grant County series. Read the first 4 books, started the 5th one, and then just gave up because I was like, I've had too much of this. And then I bought the 10th book in the series. So I've now started reading the 5th one. I love that she writes them so that you don't have to have read the previous books. Like, you probably could read this one without having read the countless books that go before it, because she does explain throughout like who everyone is, what's happened before, blah 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 blah. Obviously you're going to be spoiled if you want to read like the other books. Yes, welcome to the collection, the 10th book in the series. Okay, so the next 2 books that I'm going to show you I also bought from Tesco, Sainsbury's, some kind of supermarket, and then we'll actually get on to the second-hand books. So the first one I bought was The Memory Wood by Sam Lloyd, and I have read this one, so I'm going to talk about it in the next video that I film. So I won't give away too many of my thoughts here. So this book is about a boy called Elijah who lives in the Memory Wood, and we're following from his perspective, and also another character called Alyssa who is abducted at the start of the book and is brought into this Memory Wood, and we're following Alyssa as she's trying to find somewhere to escape, and Elijah, who's never had a proper friend before, so when he meets Alyssa he kind of wants her to stay. So it's sort of like a cat and mouse type of game where Alyssa's gonna try and trick Elijah and Elijah is trying to stop her from escaping. And I will talk about this one in my next book video. The next one that I got is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and this one has been absolutely all over BookTube and the general internet over the last few months. I think what this book is about is a main character who either tries to or does commit suicide, and she ends up in this midnight library where she can see all the different choices she could have made in her life and where she would have ended up, I think. So I'm preparing for this to be quite a sad one. It's not actually that long. Yeah, it's like less than 300 pages. So yeah, I thought I'd give this one a go because I've seen glowing reviews all over the internet and I don't want to miss out on the hype. The next book that I picked up was from a charity shop, and it was Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I'm not entirely sure how you say the last name. I'm probably saying it wrong, it could be Ng. I have read this book as well, so I will go into more detail in my next wrap-up video, but this is essentially about a family. They're a Chinese American family, and it's set in the 1970s in Ohio. Yes, in Ohio. And the middle daughter, Lydia, dies, and she's also the favourite child, so we're kind of following a bit of a mystery about how and why Lydia died, but also we're following the family members who she's left behind, and it really goes into detail about the family dynamics and what it's like for like the whole family to have lost basically the central point of the family. Again, I will talk about this more in my next wrap up, but it's sort of like a literary fiction. There are mystery elements to it, but I wouldn't say it's like a mystery thriller or anything. It's sort of more like The Lovely Bones in a way. Next up, another one from a charity shop, Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. This one I've wanted to read for a very long time. It's one of those modern classics that's been on my TBR for basically forever. I've had this book on my Kindle for years, but I've never read it. I thought I'd be more likely to read it if I actually had the book. Yeah, I don't know a lot about this book other than it's a modern classic and it's a war novel. Set in the closing months of World War II, this is the story of a bombardier. I think it's sort of similar to Slaughterhouse 5 in that it's about war, and I think it's meant to be quite funny or like some quite dark humour in there. I think this will be a good one, but it's actually a lot longer than I thought it was. A lot of these modern classics tend to be quite short, but this is like 500 and odd pages, so this might be a slog, but I'm glad I have it now because I do want to read it, so yeah. I've just stuck one of my ring lights on because it's getting a little bit dark outside, so I hope this light is okay. So the next book I got was His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Again, I picked this up in a charity shop. To be honest, I don't really know what this is about either, so let's read the back together. 3 words to describe my wife: beautiful, ambitious, unforgiving. I only need 1 word to describe my husband: liar. Okay. When a woman is murdered in Blackdown Village, newsreader Anna Andrews is reluctant to cover the case. Anna's ex-husband, DCI Jack Harper, is suspicious of her involvement until he becomes a suspect in his own murder investigation. Someone is lying and some secrets are worth killing to keep. Okay. I've just heard good things about this book, I think, and I do love a twisted sort of marriage situation. I'm excited to see if I can find a new thriller author that I really like. Next book is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, and I picked this one up again in the charity shop. This wasn't on my TBR, but I am currently reading The Underground Railroad, also by Colson Whitehead. I'm about halfway through and it's taken me quite a while to read it actually. I feel like it's sort of putting me in a reading slump. I can't read more than like 5 pages at a time. I don't know why, it's just not clicking with me. And I was telling my dad about it and he said that he'd read The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead and it was really, really good. And again, it's only a short one. It's barely even 200 pages. If I don't, I will finish The Underground Railroad first, but if that one doesn't quite gel with me, as I'm currently thinking it's not, I will give this one a go, because they're both Pulitzer Prize winners. So it looks to be about a boy called Elwood Curtis, growing up in 1960s Florida. He's taken the words of Dr. Martin Luther King to heart. He's about to enroll in the local black college, determined to make something of himself, but given the time and the place, one innocent mistake is all it takes to destroy his future. And so instead of college, he arrives at the Nickel Academy, a segregated reform school claiming to provide an education which will equip its inmates to become honourable and honest men. In reality, the academy is a nightmarish upside-down world where any boy who resists the corrupt depravity of the authorities is likely to disappear out back. Ooh, okay, so this sounds a bit more my cup of tea, I think. So the back of it says, it lifts the lid on the racist brutality of reform schools in the Jim Crow era South. I did study 1960s America back in like GCSE, so hopefully some of this will feel quite familiar to me while still feeling like I'm learning something from it. So yeah, actually I'm excited to read that now I've read the blurb, so yeah. Okay, I've got 3 books left. First up, I've got The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I read The Hunting Party a couple of months ago and I quite liked it. I'll link my review of it in the description bar somewhere if you're interested. But I have heard that The Guest List is a better version of it. I've heard that they're very similar, but I've heard that The Guest List is better. So I deliberately read The Hunting Party first until I could get my hands on this. And again, found this one in a charity shop for 99p, so the premise is very similar to The Hunting Party. That one is set in the remote Scottish Highlands. There's a group of people, one person dies, you don't know who dies, you don't know who's killed them, and the book unravels the mystery. And in this case, there is a wedding in Ireland. Again, we've got a group of old friends coming together, one person dies, and it's basically the same book, just different setting. Sounds like it. But hopefully I will enjoy it because I did think The Hunting Party was very fun. Yeah, glad I've got this, but it's also got this annoying like author of The Hunting Party thing on it, which kind of ruins it, but you can't, that's actually on the book. I can't pull that off, but whatever. Another one that has an annoying sticker on that I can't, well, looks like a sticker but isn't, is He Started It by Samantha Downing, and this one has on it best-selling author of My Lovely Wife, which I haven't actually heard of. I bought this from, there was like a market stall. This guy sells books and I think he gets like casts off from bookshops or something like that, and I picked this one up for like £2.50. It's a story about 3 siblings, a secret they've all kept since they were children. It's kind of vague, the back of the book, but I think it's about like a road trip or something. Well, these 3 siblings go on this road trip, and I think it might be to do with like inheritance, or they're going on like this last trip with a family member before they die or something. Yeah, the back of it says it's full of twists, so I'm sure to enjoy it. And lastly is actually another exception to my TBR rule. We were in a charity shop today, me and my boyfriend, and he saw this spine and he just pointed it and was like, that looks like your kind of book. And I actually love how the spine is like this, like it's little stick men. And this is The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor, which I've never heard of, but I read the back and he's right, it does sound like something I would read. None of us ever agreed on the exact beginning. Was it when we started drawing the chalk figures, or when they started to appear on their own? Was it the terrible accident, or when they found the first body? Now, it's very vague, it sounds very creepy, I looked on Goodreads and I saw a review by Gabby Reads, who is like my favourite booktuber on here, and she said it was very creepy and it had a lot of horror vibes, so I think that will be really exciting. And I don't read a lot of like horror thriller type books, so I'm really excited to see if I get creeped out by this, because I do like horror every so often. So that's all the books I have to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It is going a bit dark outside now, so I think I will film my book wrap up video tomorrow, and I'll hopefully have these videos up very close together for a change. I hope you're doing really well, and let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books or if you want to read any of these books, and what you thought of them. Obviously spoiler free, because we're not about spoilers around here. Thank you for watching this video, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!